David, do you think it's a problem that people are making huge amounts of money from the development and manufacture of coronavirus vaccines? Listen, I think that my view on this will probably anger most people other than like social democrats that are exactly in my political space. I think there has to be a middle ground on this. Now, on the one hand, we, as Bernie Sanders recently said, we can't allow these pharmaceutical companies to hold governments and humans hostage when it comes to something like health. As I've said before, demand for healthcare services and medications and vaccines is inelastic. What I mean by that is my appendectomy, right? Up until the day at which my appendix swelled and became painful, I don't care what the price is for appendectomies. I don't want one. I don't need one. And then all of a sudden, when I require an emergency appendectomy, they have me over a barrel. I need and I must find a way to pay any price for an appendectomy because healthcare services and demand is completely inelastic. So we need health is what we would call a special case. It can't just be left to the free market. Now, on the other hand, as I've said before, as a social democrat, I'm fine with the market dictating what video game consoles get made and who makes them and what they charge. I'm okay with that. I'm fine with that. Mobile phones. I'm okay. I don't need the government involved in regulating mobile phone prices. I think that the market and with that as a consumer product, I'm fine with that, assuming that everybody's playing within a regulatory framework. And to some degree, the smartest, best people we have are going to be more likely to line up to do things like developing a vaccine for the virus quickly if there is something there for them. Now, many people will point to Russia and say, well, look at Russia. Russia developed the Sputnik vaccine basically as quickly as the Moderna and Pfizer vaccines were developed. And because they didn't even finish testing it, they started using it even more quickly. If you understand the authoritarian nature of Russia, you would realize that although it did happen essentially as quickly as Pfizer and Moderna, which we will talk about, it wasn't just because out of the goodwill and desire it took place. You're talking about an authoritarian situation there, as we've been talking about for decades at this point in time. So, I mean, listen, the Turkish couple in Germany that developed what is now called the Pfizer vaccine, they are now very wealthy. They invested time and money in developing the vaccine, and now there is a payoff. If there was absolutely no payoff, then would they do it again? I mean, maybe not. And you look at Pfizer. Pfizer increased revenue 2% after investing billions of dollars in R&D and production on this vaccine. Is that bad? I mean, 2%? Yeah, it's a huge company. It's a huge amount of money. You could apply the same logic to researchers of other vaccines. Don't we want people entering the field of science and developing things that can be life-saving? Of course, we need to ensure access. Of course, we need situations where things are subsidized. Of course, Bernie is right when he says, the patenting of these vaccines, when it comes to them being produced in other countries, we need to take control of this. We can't do it in a way where other countries are prevented from making the vaccine. Of course, we need to do all those things. But at the same time, we want to incentivize people to get into these fields. If the belief is the way you make a lot of money is by, becoming a celebrity or an athlete or a high-priced lawyer or a consultant or whatever, and then people don't get into these fields of medical research, that we're all worse off. So I believe there has to be a middle ground. Maybe the government needs to be involved in determining what are fair prices. All of these things have caveats, but context is crucial. And when you say, should it be possible for pharmaceutical companies to hold the world hostage, charging $300 per vaccine dose? No, that shouldn't be possible. Should it be okay for people that are developing life-saving technologies to be rewarded in a way that's commensurate with what they are doing? Yeah, to some degree, that should be okay. And you know what? If they make a ton of money, they should pay a lot of taxes and all of the other economic policy that we and Bernie and others have been talking about. I think context is key, and there has to be a middle path here. And I'm curious to hear from you where you fall on this issue. Make sure you are a member at joinpakman.com to get access to the bonus show. Otherwise, I'll see you on Monday. One of our sponsors is Vincero Watches, giving you 15% off. A high-quality wristwatch is the perfect way to elevate your style. Own at least one watch that makes you feel great when you put it on. You can often see me wearing my Vincero watch on the show. Mine is the gunmetal vessel model. I'm a big fan of the metallic look of the face of the watch. I like the silicone strap. You won't find a better made watch for this good a price anywhere else. When you put it on, you know you got more than you paid for. Vincero believes in crafting super quality watches from high-end materials, but selling them at fair prices, which is why they have over 26,000 five-star reviews. And they stand behind every watch they make with a 1-year return policy and 5-year warranty. They'll give you 15% off everything in their store and free shipping at davidpakman.com/watch. Use the coupon code PAKMAN.